what we have to know, the structures that we have to know. So you guys remember that in the uterine tube, in the ampulla of the uterine tube, the boyfriend and girlfriend will meet each other, and then you have the date, and the date is called fertilization. So they combine their genes and make the twin cell that we call it zygote, right? And then we said that the zygote will develop into this structure, which consists of two major parts. We call it inner cell mass and also the trophoblast. You do not have the inner cell mass and the trophoblast on these models, but I will show you on the pictures that we have here. But before that, what are the things that we have to know here? So we said that the inner cell mass will make what for you? Amnion. It will make the embryo. Number one, it will make the embryo for you. And then it makes the amnion, as you said, with amniotic cavity, and then inside it you have the embryo, and the outer part is called trophoblast, which will make the placenta for us, right? So here on the model we are able to see the amnion, and also on the other models that we have for the developing embryo and fetus. Make sure that you will look at the other one that we have on the card. It shows you the different stages of the development of the embryo and the fetus. Make sure that you will look at it. But even on those ones, you can find the amnion. This is the amnion. Amnion is what?
The fluid.
And the fluid is called amniotic fluid. But the amnion is what? The cavity is called amniotic cavity. But what is the amnion itself? No, that's not the fluid.
Is it the
Is the
placenta?
layer-
You can say that's the membrane. So the amnion is the very delicate membrane that you have around the embryo. Inside it, you have the embryonic cavity. Inside the embryonic cavity, you have the amniotic fluid, right? And this is your embryo here. So what you see here, this is the embryo. Around it, what you have around it is called chorion. This is the chorion. Okay.
This one.
All the way. All the way. This is chorion. This is amnion.
Look like the bean.
Amnion.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this thing here.
This is amnion.
Okay.
And this is
Amnion is-
chorion. The red one or orange one is chorion. And amniotic cavity, of course, is the cavity that you have here. Inside it, you have the embryo. And then inner cell mass and the trophoblast, guys, you cannot see them on these models, but you have the picture on page 663. You have the picture which
Of
shows
which
you
one?
the story. 663, figure 40.2. So the blue one here is the inner cell mass, and then the yellow one which continues here is the trophoblast, right? So the inner cell mass will make the amnion with the amniotic cavity for you. Inside it you will have the embryo, and the trophoblast, which is this one here, will make the placenta in future. All right. The placenta, guys, is here.
Which page?
Reach 663. And here you can see that the placenta is forming. Can you see that the chorion and the trophoblast are making the placenta for you? So here the placenta is forming. Now here is complete. This is the placenta. What's the function of the placenta? Protection against many of the bacteria and the pathogens and viruses, and also provide nutrition and the oxygen for the fetus. So that's the only source for the fetus to have access, and also the embryo to have access to the oxygen, nutrients, and also, as you said, it protects the fetus against many of the viruses and the toxins and the drugs. But still, there are some toxins and drugs and the viruses which can pass through it, like the HIV virus. HIV virus is able to pass through it and goes to the fetus and also infect the fetus. But most of the bacteria and viruses will be protected by the placenta.
Where HIV cannot pick the fetus, right?
Yes.
The HIV can get into the fetus because it can pass through the barrier that we have in the placenta. Right. And then the umbilical cord is the structure.
I'm sorry, what's that again?
Placenta.
Placenta.
The
baby's
Umbilical
inside
cord.
this.
Yes. The umbilical cord is the structure which connects the fetus
To the
into the
placenta.
placenta. This is the placenta. Can you see the umbilical cord here? This is the best umbilical cord that I see here. This is the umbilical cord. Umbilical cord is a structure which connects the fetus into the placenta. And then the chorionic villi or villi are these finger-like structures which come out from the chorion. So this is the chorion. This is the umbilical cord, look.
It
And
kinda
these are
looks
the
like
arteries and the
the
veins of the umbilical cord. And these
Arbor
are the
vitae. It kind of looks like arbor vitae.
kind of, yeah. And they are like the trees, they are like the fingers, right? Which come out from the placenta, as you can see here. And then they connect to the mother's blood. These are the blood vessels of the uterus. So this is the mother's blood. So remember that these finger-like structures that we call them chorionic villi will be very close to these blood vessels, but they are not connected. It means that unless during the delivery, the mother's and the fetus blood will not be mixed. They are never mixed. They can be very close, and the nutrient and the oxygen will move through the diffusion. They will move by the diffusion. But remember, because some people think that when the mother is pregnant, the mother's and the fetus blood will be mixed. No, never, never. Just during the delivery, because the placenta is detaching from the wall of the uterus, a little bit of the mixture will happen just during the delivery. Otherwise, no. There is no direct connection between the mother's and the fetus blood, as you can see here. So the mother's blood is here inside the blood vessels of the endometrium. So here, this is the actually this is the stratum functionalis, which is completely thick, full of the blood vessels and the glands, and this is a pregnant uterus. So mother's blood vessels are here, the veins and the arteries. The other structure that we have to know, and usually we have it before the placenta is formed, is the yolk sac.
And
You see
that's
the yolk
nourishment
sac? It's for the
until
nourishment.
placenta is formed.
Exactly. This is for the nourishment of the embryo before the formation of the placenta. When the placenta is formed, you do not need it anymore. It will be disappear. Question?
Yeah, I mean, just going back to the separation of the blood.
Uh-huh.
So the only way a child can carry their parents' blood is by DNA and stuff like that. If they're not
Say it again. To
Say-
carry what?
The only, because